This is great.
We got 25 minutes. We got to go.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hump day.
What is going on? Happy Hump Day, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Say That.
We're excited to have you guys. If this is the first time that you're with us, please share the information. If you find what we talk about today valuable, it's really important that you share, like, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
Absolutely. So, guys, we're excited for what we're working on in this new season. We've been adding a new aspect of the conversation and been stepping into some great conversation from the guys from Earn Your Leasure. So this week, we're going to be doing another one of those great topics. So let's get into the drum roll and get to today's question, please. Guys, today's question is...
Do you have a middle-class mindset? I think the part B to this question is that hurting your business?
Facts.
But let's find out.
Let's jump right into it, guys.
I want to talk about this. I wasn't going to take the tweet down. What tweet? I'm talking about Skip. I told you about Skip. No, go ahead. I'm going to let you finish your monologue. We'll have them issues. So it's important to understand before I say this, we come from a working class environment, like, sanitation workers and nurses and school teachers and, real hardworking people that saved up for a vacation, maybe once every 2 years, working to send their kids to college, different things of that nature, right? So I want to preference it before I say that.
Oh,
God. No.
Yo, wait,
no, it's important.
What's going on?
But there is a thing called middle-class mediocre mindset. I think I've coined that phrase. I haven't heard anybody else say it. But, I was just thinking about it, and it's extremely detrimental to your success if you're trying to break out of it. And you don't really realize it until you're out of it. It's like the Matrix. You never really realize you're in the Matrix until you break out of the Matrix.
Fact.
And, 19 Keys has said something, and I actually looked it up on YouTube, and it's actually true, where they did a research study where they took flies and they put them in a jar, and they put a cap on a jar, and the flies obviously can only fly as high as the lid. When they took the lid off, they still only flew as high as the lid, even though the lid was off. That's interesting. But what's even more interesting is that when they had children, their children only flew as high as the invisible lid because they were already programmed that that's only as high as you can go. So, it's interesting, like so many different things when I think about it. And you probably don't even realize these things happen. But you ever heard like parents tell their children, like, you just played yesterday. You just had fun yesterday. You just had a party yesterday. Like you can only have fun one day out of the week. You can only have a party one day. Like I had a family, like I took my son to dinner in the city for his birthday. His birthday was on a Tuesday. And somebody said like, well, why are you taking him to the city on Tuesday? Like, why don't you just take him on the weekend? And I'm like, well, because his birthday is on Tuesday. But that's the whole mentality of like, let's just wait till the weekend because we're working and we gotta get up. Like, I say that to say, you really have to break out of the middle class mindset because it's extremely detrimental. And the most dangerous thing that America ever did was create a middle class. Because when you create a middle class, you create some level of comfort because you're not in poverty, right? You're not in poverty. So you think that you actually are living the American dream. You're not. You're really not. And it's like that mindset is so detrimental because there's so many limiting factors that go into play here, right? Where it's like you got to wait till the weekend to do things. And you can only, like, you ever hear somebody say, like, you just came back from a trip. Why are you traveling so much? Well, why not? Well, why not? Why am I not traveling so much?
We worked for.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I not traveling? It's a lot of these things that's, you have to be extremely careful of the kind of people that you're around because these kind of limiting words develop habits in your subconscious. And then you feel bad about it. You feel guilty about going on a trip. You feel guilty about going out 2 nights in a row. You feel guilty about going to the city on Tuesday. Like you start to like reel it back a little bit. Like, no, I'm doing too much. Let me pull back. But at the highest level, there's no limitations. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience because I see it. So when we in Dubai or Abu Dhabi on a Wednesday, nobody knows whether it's Wednesday or Saturday or Sunday. It doesn't matter.
It's just living life.
It really doesn't. Nobody says it's 4 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing out? Nobody says it's 6 o'clock. You have to get up. There's really no rules in life. At the highest level, there's no rules. Rules are only for middle class and poor people. Rich people don't have any rules. They make their own rules. So,
and we can argue that the middle class died after Clinton left office.
Yeah. So it's extremely important to understand that. And like I said, I'm not even speaking from a level of like condescending, but I'm speaking from firsthand experience because I've seen both hands of it. Like this is how I grew up. So now when I'm in a different environment, but I always thought like that, but you start to see it. You start to see things and it's like, damn, it's hard to even get people to understand that the way that they're thinking is so small and so limiting. So you don't even waste your time. But for everybody that's watching it, you're on your pathway to generational wealth. You're on your pathway to success. You're on your pathway to becoming, a superstar in the entrepreneur world, whatever you want to do with your life. So just be mindful of that because a lot of times you're limiting yourself based off of the expectations that have been laid down from you, from your parents, your grandparents, your friends, your neighbors. So just be mindful of that. It's very important.
And a quick exercise real quick. So it doesn't come off as elitist because, I don't want to end up on Shade Room or nothing.
Shade Room. Please, I'm hoping to end up on Shade Room. We need Shade Room. We need that. $500 dinners coming back.
Now you understand us.
$500 dates coming back. Polygamy.
It's the only way they'll listen.
Listen.
Oh man.
Are we pausing?
Yeah. What do you think so far?
Okay. So they ended on the $500 dates. I only chuckled because I saw that episode. They had an interview with Angela Yee from I forget what New York radio station. Breakfast Club, yes.
Yeah.
And they were talking about dates, and they asked like, "Well, how much money do you think you should spend on a date?" And the guy was like, $500, and like went into it. Like no joke, like wasn't smiling about it, like he thought it was funny. Like he was just like serious, like, yeah, $500 that'll probably do first date. But apparently a ton of people had comments about that. Anyway, so I just saw that and I can imagine that became a controversial conversation. That being said, I think this is really interesting. There are a couple of things that I really that stuck in my mind. I love when he started off when people were like, have you ever heard someone tell their kids, but you already played yesterday? And I know I've been a product of that, like, but you already did that yesterday. That's already done. So you can't have fun again. You can't celebrate.
Do it multiple days.
Yeah, like why not do it multiple days, right? We're also the middle class is to keep us comfortable and to make us think that you can only have fun on the weekend, making people think, oh, you travel too much, that kind of thing. And finally, the middle class live by rules. Rich people don't have any rules. And I was like, say that. That should be like the whole thing.
Yeah, it's actually not the first time I've heard that. What's interesting about the conversation they're having in terms of like even travel, it made me think of, our network marketing company that we had taken part of. A large part of the motivation for building that was the idea of traveling as often as we wanted to, going to places. I remember often from people from stage, these are guys making, tens of thousands of dollars with this type of idea. Saying we're in a place on a Tuesday where everybody else is sitting at a desk and them not knowing literally what these guys just got done saying, you not knowing what day of the week it is because you have time freedom. That's the one thing. And he didn't use this terminology, but that time freedom is what wealthy people have, when they have a system going for them. So, man, I love it. All right.
Here we go.
Hold on.
only thing they do.
My man had a baby on anyway. Please write in chat if money was not an object or issue. What are the 3 things you would do spending your day on? It's very important to set that. I remember when I set the decision to become an investor and trader, I'm like, man, I just want to be able to trade, not have to talk to anyone regarding doing business and be able to make money out of the ether. And man, I have to bust my ass to be able to get there, but that manifested. I will tell you that the middle class has died, though. Even I know a lot of people are mad about that quote from Grant Cardone on if he only made X amount of dollars per year. That he,
400,000.
but the truth is,
Took it a little too far.
Yeah, a little bit.
if did he though?
No, I mean, some things you can't say. Some things you can't say.
That's why I respect it. Okay, now if we're gonna be honest, because now I got some energy, right?
6,400 people on YouTube. Let's go.
Ian and Rashad about to argue.
Let's
over
go.
France.
Let's go. This is
Well,
what they want. This is what they want.
The truth is, though, he was right. Because if it's not just about you, I don't want you to make $500,000 to go blow it on Balenciaga and Mike and Mary and all that, right? But let's say if you're going to help 5 people in your family, how much does it cost to help 5 people in your family?
Facts. Yeah.
And
facts.
take care of all your stuff and be debt free. There's a cost. So I want you guys, one of my favorite exercises of Money Master the Game. How much money do you need to retire you and 3 people that you love and give everyone that you love a soft life? You know, because when I day, I don't even want mine to wash no dishes or nothing.
yeah, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Right?
That's not the part that was like, all right, maybe you shouldn't. I think the word ashamed is what triggered me personally. Like,
if Grant being a great marketer, you don't think he did that?
I get the marketing part of it. I'm just saying, right? If you're in pursuit of that, like everybody has a threshold, right? Like when you're saying, like, hey, we got to prepare for where we want to go, right? And so sometimes when you're in the grind, I talked about that on I think that was Drink Champs when we were talking about when we're in that survival mode. Yeah, we can have the goal of 400,000. We can have the goal of 15 million, but I got to work on the day to day. I might be in pursuit of it. Should I feel ashamed that I'm not there yet? I don't think so. Like that word I think is what triggered. Like if you're not there now, great, you might be in pursuit of it.
Okay. Yeah.
We can't knock the people that's in pursuit of it.
You can't disrespect people. You can't disrespect.
I don't think he was saying it to disrespect, but it did come. That's how he said it.
The tone, the tone. The tone.
What you say is how you say it, right?
Yeah.
So, ashamed, I think, is a strong word. Like I personally haven't hit what my personal income goal is ever. I'm mad that I haven't hit it yet. Meta, write my check so I can hit it. But I think we have to have realistic goals because, unrealistic goals, because the truth is a person that has hit a realistic goal 25 times, it's not a good feeling to hit that goal. I'm like, fuck, I should have asked for more, should have did more, should have pushed for more. I should have been not only going after Meta, but every top 1,000 company on earth at the same time.
But then what I also realized is that even like being around billionaires and hanging around people that's extremely wealthy, 9 figures, the goal is never money.
Yeah.
So the goal is creating something that is going to change the world. The goal is creating, like, that's the goal, right? So even
helping people create something.
Yeah. So even the money, I think that it's not really about money. And that's why I wanted to say with the middle class mindset, it's not necessarily the money, because you could still make a lot of money and still have a middle class mindset, right? It's liberating yourself from the shackles of the oppression that was put on you from people. And it was.
How much does that cost, though?
Well, it depends.
If you're in New York, how much does it cost?
Well, so for me personally, right? Before I had any money, I was already liberated. I didn't have no money, and I was already on that type of time. I never had a real. I was always waking up whenever I wanted. I was always doing. I went to Asia for 30 days. I wasn't rich when I did that, and it's like people were saying that at that time. Like, I went to Asia. Me and Jamal, we went to Asia 5 years ago for 30 days with a round trip plane ticket and 2 nights in a hotel with no plan. We winged it. We went to 5 different countries. And people are like, well, why would you go and do that? You got 2 types of people in this world. You got one type of people that say why, and the other type that say why not.
Mm-hmm.
So they say, like, why are you going to do it? Well, why not? Because I'm going to die one day. And if I don't do it, then I'm never going to have an opportunity to do it. So instead of asking me why I'm going to do it, ask yourself why you're not going to do it. So that doesn't really take money to kind of have that. First, mine makes money. Money doesn't make the person. Your mind is the most important thing, period.
Absolutely.
Once you get your mind right, then the money's just going to come flowing because now you're in abundance mindset and you're attracting it. You're attracting it. But what you're doing with these negative thoughts and these limiting thoughts is that you're actually blocking it. So it's extremely important for people to understand that, because I feel like a lot of times people don't fully understand how their mind is so powerful.
Yes.
and even the things that you tell your children, just be careful how you speak to your children, because it's like you're already instilling fear. You're already instilling different things in them that you might not even be aware of. And it's like they're already growing up with limitations and fear at 10 years old, at 8 years old.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting thought exercise.
Yeah.
Everyone in chat, if you had to make $2 million in 3 months, write out at what price point would you sell your product? How many do you need to sell? And what's your plan to get there? One of my favorites was there. How do you get from this point, and what are the steps you need to take to get back there? For me personally, when I was investing, I was watching CNBC like crazy, and it was Maria Bartiromo and Santinelli and everybody back in the day, right? And I'm like, if they would just give the prices and fundamentals, right? So that's when I started working on the formulation that became a crystal ball. So I thought you should be able to like know the fundamentals of a company and give the price in like less than 30 seconds, right? So everyone in chat, $2 million, 3 months, what is your formulation? But it all started with the problem. When I was watching CNBC in 2008, the information wasn't that clear. And here we are today in 2022, 2023, doing this for you guys for free at scale, right? Shout out to y'all. But whatever you put into your mind eventually will manifest. And for my Christians, I keep saying it, how can you be a child of God and be afraid to put your ideas, proclamations, products, and services out into the world and serve him? And he made the moon, mountains, stars, grasshopper. Man, go get that shit this year. $2 million in 3 months. What's your plan?
Yeah.
You know what changed my life? This is the last thing I'll say about this. You know what changed my life? Because even in social media, I always tell this story. I wanted to do this 8 years ago, what we're doing now. I wanted to do it 8 years ago. But, you know, it's fear, it's self-doubt, it's thinking like, you know, what will people think of me? I have 500 followers in I had a private page with 500 followers. This is just reality.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Finally, how many years ago was this?
This when we started?
Yeah, when you have 500 followers. That
was like 6 years ago.
Life could change in half a decade, yo. Like
that was like 6 years ago. But you know what I realized? I had an epiphany that I'm going to die. Once you embrace death, you're not afraid to live. I'll say that again. Once you embrace death, you're not afraid to live, because you realize that we're all going to die one day. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, somebody's opinion of you doesn't matter. What people think of you don't matter. What people are going to say about you doesn't matter, because it's like, it's a very short period of time that we have on this earth. So you might as well just make the most of it, because what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is just doesn't work out. But it's like, if you never tried, or if you never really went for it, now you got to live with regret. And regret is much harder to live with than failure. You can live with failure. It didn't work. People fail all the time. But to live with regret is much harder to deal with, because you never know what's going to happen. So nobody wants to be on their deathbed when they're 70 years old, 80 years old, 90, whatever. And it's like, damn, I wasted my whole life. I really didn't do anything, because I was afraid of what my friend would have wrote on Instagram.
Wow. Man. That was crazy.
That was like a whole sermon.
Wow.
A whole sermon. Okay. Some quick takeaways besides the regret is much harder to live than failure. Much harder to live with regret. I was taking a ton of notes. You guys probably saw me. For the wealthy, so the 2 questions that I put in the chat. So please put it in the chat if you haven't already. If money was not an issue, what are the 3 things you would spend your day doing? I love that. Love that. And then the next question is, how much money do you need to retire so that you and potentially the 3 closest people in your immediate family have a soft life?
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, if you had to make $2 million in 2 months, what are the steps that you need to get there? And essentially reverse engineer that. So like, okay, if you had the $2 million, what needs to be in place? Like the
Product wise, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Or whatever service you do.
Yeah. So I love all those questions. Put all of your answers in the chat. We'd love to see them. Okay, one big takeaway. Well, the wealthy don't have money as a goal. Their goal is to create something that can change the world. How many people do we know who are like that? I mean, between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs right there, I think that should like be huge examples of that. But there are so many others, right? Like whether it's the Zappos creator or founder. And to ask yourself the question, why not? Those people, the people who ask the question, why not? Those big thinkers, they're the ones who are the first ones to liberate themselves from the shackles of middle-class mindset. And then finally, the mind makes money. So if you get your mind right first, you can bring on the rest.
Yeah, say that. Say that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this conversation. There was the aspect earlier when he mentioned even just the way you and you kind of alluded to it earlier, Janelle, about what you hear when you're a child, and what's said to you. I can't remember exactly where I'd seen it in a book, but it was talking about just even the way we talk to kids about, you want to make them aware of their surroundings, but you use terminology like, be afraid, or be careful, and they're like, wait, what should I be careful of? Right. It allows for them now to start looking for things to find an issue with, instead of just saying be mindful or be aware of your surroundings, using just different terminologies. A lot of that stuff can really, that fly thing that was wild, and how that can be instilled in your children genetically. A lot of these things are there.
They've also done these same experiments with monkeys, which are the closer species to mammalians, right? To humans. And it's the same thing. They use bananas and like go after the banana, do everything that you can to get the banana. And at first you get it and everything's great. Then they make it a little bit more challenging, and people they still are able to do it. It's great. And then every time you go to reach for a banana, they shock you.
Yeah.
But then the monkeys are like, oh no. And then they literally stay away from the bananas because they're like, don't want to get shocked.
Even when it's right in front of them.
When it's right in front of them. And then guess what? They teach their children, don't reach for the banana.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't explain why. They just say, don't reach for the banana. And then if anyone tries to reach for the banana, they will jump on top of that monkey. The whole group will jump on top of that monkey.
To make sure that monkey doesn't go after the banana. Think about that. Think about that. Yeah.
The mind is super powerful, and we literally can pass this type of mindset down to our, the people in our family, the people in our lives. Like, this is so important. So important.
Wow. So guys, any other takeaways that you guys have from this week's episode, definitely make sure that you guys throw that in the chat below. We're going to make sure that we tag this video at the end of the episode so that you guys can go and watch it for yourself. Again, thank you for everybody who sent questions in, and for all the videos that you guys have been sending in for us to review. We've actually been having a lot of fun with this new segment that we've been doing.
All right,
guys, until next week. As always,
remember, you deserve the good life. Say that.
We'll see you guys